Howdy y'all, and welcome to Lex Lives. I think it's time we play a little Minecraft. Alright, so I've been moving out and about today. Whoops, that is the wrong button. Out and about today, trying to get some work done on the old bridge now that my couple of factories back over there are just about done. I don't think I like those glowstones sticking up through the roof like, oh, dude. Get out of here. Whoops. Nobody thinks he's doing. But I've been out grabbing cactus, and I think I've just about worked my way through all the terracotta I mined up, so I might have to... Oh, no. I might have to head back out to the old terracotta mine. Do some more digging. Oh yeah, I'm like, why? What? Huh? But yeah, no, that's supposed to look like that. But yeah, it's been a pretty quiet day. I've actually been just sitting around watching cartoons all day. Well, not all day, but for the last couple hours. My DVR told me that I was once again 100% full on episodes, and I'd better watch something. So I'm terrible at watching the shows I tape. I can't do it. I don't know what it is. I used to watch them, and well, I mean, also on top of that, you know, the job I do now is a lot more lengthy, I guess, than the old job in the amount of time I have to put into it. Whoops. And so there is that, which doesn't help things. Mostly, though, it's the DVR, of course, is connected to the TV, and my computer setup is actually my computer connected to two televisions, one of which being the television that I watch my DVR on, and so I am more apt to just watch things on my computer than I am to swap over to using the DVR. Because you can resize things and still continue to use both monitors as computer monitors and just have your video playing in a smaller window when you're watching it on the computer, which is probably the big problem I have with actually managing to watch anything. Alright. Now I did notice that I need to get some more stone over here, so we might go do that first. Oh, I did get all this done down through here. Except I do need to run the yellow line up through the middle. I haven't done that yet. But I know this side over here is one stone off for some reason, and I didn't run this up high enough. This is... Okay, well, one of us got punched off anyways. So I need to get a... Whoa. What just happened there? Like I shot at that dude and the arrow came back at me. Oh, I'm like, what is up with all those guys? But they're carrying... blocks of dirt. Oh, and I'm out of arrows. There's so many zombies. And spiders. Let's get out of here and go take a nap. I'm gonna die. Quick. Run. Run back where it's safe. Oh man, something is thumping on my window. I wonder what it is. Raindrop? Bird? Frog? The downsides of living in... Well, not living, but... Downsides of having your computer area in the basement. And the windows are at ground level. Yeah. But, okay. Terracotta. Do I have any terracotta of the kind I need? Oh, I do have some left. Look at that. Bam, bam, bam. And I still have a ton of cyan dye because I went out to the desert and grabbed up all the... That's totally the wrong color terracotta. I can tell right now that you do not belong. One of these things is not like the other. And that would be the orange terracotta. Okay, so that got me a few more blocks to be able to place down before I have to head out. But, yeah, we had a pretty busy weekend. It wasn't too bad. We did have another, oh, we made plans? Are you sure we made... Oh, I forgot to grab stone. Let me go back and grab stone so I can get this all while I'm out here. So I wanted to go see Wonder Woman. I guess I should have gone today. I didn't think about it, though. Instead, I sat here and watched Bob's Burgers. So I'm like, hey, you know, Wonder Woman plays next weekend. And they're like, oh, Wonder Woman, we want to see Wonder Woman. I'm like, all right, well, we should plan for a day to go see Wonder Woman. All right, well, let me check my calendar. I'm like, okay, check your calendar. So they check their calendar, and they come back, and they're like, yeah, we're really, really busy every day of the weekend, but we should be able to get out there and see it on Saturday, because we're supposed to have a birthday party, but the birthday party won't be till 7 o'clock. I'm like, okay. So, I wonder if I got any... Oh, he came into my house. Don't you do it. And, so I confirmed with them on Thursday night. We still on for Wonder Woman on... What's going on with the side of my building? There's a weird shadow covering part of my building over there. You see that? I think that's a weird shadow. I mean, there's weird shadows involved with this building anyways, but I didn't fill that in with a different colored wood, did I? No, it's just a weird shadow. Look at it. I am the shadow that covers this one spot of your building for no reason. I'm like the shadow that covers this one spot of ground for no reason. Don't cover this spot of ground or this spot of ground, which have the exact same style of building over top of them. But this spot right here, I am the shadow. I guess while we wait for that stone to cook, I can go ahead and place these. So, so then they're like, all right, so what time does Wonder Woman start? So I prefer to go to the closest theater. They prefer to go to a theater that apparently is an hour and a half away. I'd prefer not to drive an hour and a half to get to the theater. It's not quite an hour and a half. It's more like an hour and 10 minutes or so. I just rounded up. And so Oh, now see, here's a slight problem is that I can't. It's okay. I'll just wait, and then I can come back with the. Dang it, the stone. Will you place? Thank you. And so the one place doesn't start till 1:30, which is fine because we were gonna go in the afternoon and had to be back in time for the birthday party that started at 7 at our house. And so then they're like, oh, and we're not going to be there Sunday for D&D, so we need to play D&D on Saturday. I'm like, well, that's going to be tricky. Now, this is what they tell me on Friday. I'm like, that's going to be tricky because we're supposed to go see Wonder Woman, so maybe we'll just skip D&D this week. And they're like, oh, I forgot about Wonder Woman. Okay, well, I've confirmed it with you twice. And so then we get to Saturday, and then they're like, oh, by the way, I have an open house to go to, and I need to study for a certification exam. So I can't go see Wonder Woman. I'm like, okay. Once again, we made plans. I confirmed them. I rearranged things so that I could attend the group event that you agreed to go to, but it's not your event. It's the thing I wanted to do, so now we're not gonna do it. I see how it is, just like every other time. And I really don't know why. Well, it's I don't know. I don't know why I asked them to ever go to anything, honestly, at this point. Because 80% of the time, they either don't follow through with it or they change every moment of when it was supposed to be or what it's supposed to be. But, yeah, so we didn't go, and then, so now so they couldn't go because of the open house, but they still wanted to play D&D. The open house started at 1. Somehow we didn't get started playing D&D till after 3. And then we get to stage 2 of this whole mess is the party starts at 7, and we were having pulled pork as basically that was it. They had to cook the pulled pork. We were having chips, pulled pork, and potato salad. Potato salad was done in the refrigerator. Chips you just open. Pulled pork was in the slow cooker. And set up to be done at 7 p.m., which was the time decided by my brother's family because they were going to be busy all day. And they would not be able to make it until 7 p.m. I hope you can sense where this is going. And so we get to 5 o'clock, and it probably wasn't even 5 o'clock. It was probably like 4:45. They call. We're done early, so we're headed there now. I'm like, we just got started. We haven't even got to the first thing that's going to occur. And now everybody's leaving for... So I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll just come back to this later. It's very irritating to me because, once again, something we scheduled, but my thing gets put on the back burner. Now, admittedly, Dungeons & Dragons probably not necessarily as important. You know, it's weird that this side over here... This really needs to cover both ends of this. And so so they all rush upstairs to start getting stuff together for the birthday party. Mainly just setting out the bowls and things like that. And and so I finish off a couple of things I had to do after they left, and head to the kitchen. And I get to the kitchen and they're putting out the food. And so I sit down at the table, and then it's like 5:40 probably when my brother and his family show up, and it's like 5:15. Let's say it's been a half hour since they called, and everything's ready to go for the party, except for one key thing missing. Pulled pork has to cook for another hour because that's when they said they couldn't make it until. Seriously. Showing up that early to a party that you already made people change the time on? Kind of rude. So we got back to D&D anyways after dinner, and managed to finish up the little event we had for the night, which was fun. I enjoyed it. It's so chaotic because you sit down. We're there for like 10 minutes getting started because my sister can't make decisions, and so she's playing a class where she has to pick out her spells. She can't pick out her spells because it's a decision, and it's like she is extremely particular about her food. Extremely particular. And so when we agree to eat together, the question is, what do you want? And her answer is, just get what you want. Except she won't eat anything that the rest of us will eat. Pretty much, period. And so then it's like, well, if we get pizza, do you want pizza? Well, I don't feel like pizza. Okay, so then that's a decision you just made. We're not getting pizza. Would you like French fries? Because then we can get burgers. I don't know if I want French fries. Okay, scratch that one into the maybe list. We can order burgers from the place that has pasta. You know what? I think I want Pizza Hut pizza. I'm like, well, I hate Pizza Hut pizza, but I'll eat it if that's what we're getting. So she vetoes everything you say, but she doesn't want to be the one that makes the decision. So yeah. But so after she gets done deciding on her new list of spells, which she's had a week to think about or even look at, we finally get started, and then 10 minutes into that, one of them's got to take a bathroom break, and I'm like, oh, this is like, they're not even like adults, man. We all start at the same time. How do you need to take a bathroom break 10 minutes into the thing when you just know that's when we're starting? And then they gotta get snacks, and so then brother-in-law goes up and grabs chips and comes back down. And I'm thinking, dinner is in like 4 hours. You don't need snacks. This is like post-lunch, pre-dinner. You don't need snacks in between lunch and dinner. Come on. But then she's so tired, she has to have snacks. I don't know what she's so tired for, but she's too tired without snacks. So then they got to break and go get snacks. And then by the time that's over, then another one of them's got to go to the bathroom. And so we barely even got moving before the phone call that stopped the game. And then right before we stopped, so this was the plan. So last time we played, I had run. It took us like three sessions, I think, to get through. At least 3 sessions to get through this thing I called McCready's, which is based on an old D&D magazine that I've found online called Jacob's Well, and it could have been better, but I I just kind of gave up on it at the end and just finished it off because I was 3 or 4 sessions into something that I felt we should have been done with at this point. They're just taking so long with all the bathroom breaks and the gotta chase my kid down because she doesn't listen or behave breaks. And so so I cut out part of what we were supposed to do, and which is fine because sometimes as a DM you gotta adjust on the fly, kind of like I did yesterday. And so they the plan was basically to overwhelm them anyways, which did happen, and then bring in help. And so I already had the help provided, but they didn't. Because you never know what decision your players are going to make, and so my sister, she's like, "Oh well, we're gonna summon the devil named Ridrar, who works for the same organization that they do." Ridrar's not necessarily, I mean, he's evil, but he's lawful evil, which just means he follows the rules, and his goal is whatever benefits him, as long as he follows the rules. And so following the rules benefits him greatly. And so he is kind of the messenger for the group they work for. And so they summon him, and then they send a message to the leader that they need help. Well, the leader's like, you're like 5 days away, so you'd have to hold out for 5 days to get any help. And then I'm like, ooh, this might be fun. And so I had Ridrar offer them a deal that he would go find them help, and once he found help, then they would owe him a similar favor, and they would have to help him. And so they agreed, and so he took off, and so then they had to hold out for 2 days. So they managed to hold out for 2 days, and so at the end of the second day, they stuck their head out and got attacked. And I decided that was going to be the final battle because I was ready to be done with McCready's. And so there was a lot of fighting going down and NPCs coming in to help, and they managed to barely. Most of them were unconscious at one point before the NPCs showed up and saved them. So then we fast forward to last night's session, and so Ridrar showed up and wanted his favor. So I've made Ridrar's backstory that he used to be. They don't know this, but he's a high level. Okay, so D&D has the devils, and the devils operate on kind of a corporate structure, and so your whole goal is to get ahead in the corporation, kind of. And so Ridrar was a high-level bureaucrat kind of dude. Obviously, there's a lot of torture and death and dismemberment that goes on too, but mostly your goal is to get ahead in your job. because anyone can be promoted if they do a good enough job. And so Ridrar was a high-level devil, so he's very powerful, and decided that he didn't like his job. And because hey, it's D&D, everybody's a special person, right? And so why not Ridrar? And so he left and absconded to the material plane, which is what they call the normal area where normal people live. And so thing is, though, is that him leaving left a power vacuum, and that throws off the bureaucratic nature of how they operate. And so every once in a while, one of the bureaucrats sends a retrieval team to bring Ridrar back so that he can go back to work in the position he's supposed to hold. And so and Ridrar has been gone from that job for like 2,000 years at this point. And so but since they don't die or age, right? I mean, they still like, this would go more smoothly if, that guy who's supposed to be in this position was in this position, kind of thing. And so the deal was that they got a rune that made them seem like they were Ridrar, whose current form is a small imp, basically. Although his real form is, Pit Fiend, giant winged devil kind of thing. So he just doesn't let that be revealed, because that would reveal to the people who are hunting him where he's at, and he doesn't want that. And so they meet up with the hunting party after they do the ritual like he told them to. And so first thing up are I just mixed up together some stuff, and so they're face off against these two-headed things called death dogs, and I thought they seemed cool. I don't think they're actually related to devils in any way, but they were cool, so they are in my world. And so some death dogs and some hellhounds. So I imagine it was like, there's the guy in charge, there's a guy in charge of the dogs, and then there's the dogs, basically. And so the dogs attacked. One of the dogs spit fire, which is I want to say it was a 6d6 attack. That seems high. No, it was, though. 6d6 attack. And a cone, and so I actually hit 3 of the players. And 2 of them rolled dexterity save, which means they dodged part of it. So then it took half the damage. But that half damage was enough to knock them unconscious. My character took the full brunt of the damage, and I rolled really high, 32 points on 6 dice. A total possible of 36, and I rolled a 32. And so my guy was pretty hurt, and the other 2 went unconscious. And then we got the phone call that broke it up. And so after dinner, it was my nephew's birthday, and so he's like, I don't think we're going to play anymore tonight, because I'm really excited about my new video game. I'm like, well, I can understand that. I'm like, but did you get your video game started? Because I imagine it's going to have to download before you can actually play it, and we won't get to play for a week. He's like, well, I was talking with my dad, and we're both pretty disappointed by the fact that we're already knocked down at the beginning of this fight. And, we don't think we're going to live through this, and so I'm like, well, you don't know until you play it out, but I would go see if your video game has to download, and if it has to download, then you might as well play this while you're waiting for your new game to download. And, because his other thing was he got new books. He got a bunch of books in a video game, and so I didn't foresee him starting a new book last night. So yeah, sure enough, it's like a 3-hour download, and so we got that started. They came back down. They managed to fight it off. I had to lower the hit points on a lot of things, otherwise they'd have been dead. I also didn't use the fire breath attack again, otherwise they'd have been dead. But yeah, that's kind of the way it goes with being a DM. I've noticed. I like it when my players are nearly dead, not, not, oh man, we're dead and in death saves, but if somebody doesn't go unconscious every fight, then I don't feel like my fights are strong enough. I'm not saying they need to go unconscious. They just need to be getting hit hard enough that they could potentially go unconscious. That was just a bad roll of the dice, though. 32 points. I mean, my character's only got 44 hit points, and he has the most hit points of the group. And so that was a painful attack. But yeah, the next person's turn was the healers, and so that was my sister, and she got them back on their feet, and they managed to fight their way through. And then I think next was spined devils, which are little tiny devils, came. They killed those off pretty quickly, and only because I didn't make them fly or anything like that, because they totally could have avoided half the group by flying. And then a bearded devil, which is basically Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean, showed up. He was the dog handler for my group. And then lastly was the barbed devil, which is the leader of the hunter group, showed up. But yeah. Well, I think this is probably where I'm going to call it. And I got to get the yellow line in here, like I said. Yeah, I just about got my bridge finished today, so that makes me pretty happy. Well, when I say finished, I mean, I almost have the pavement in place. I still need to come through here, and after I get the yellow line in, I've got to figure out what kind of bridge it's going to be. It's got to have some more to it here. So I might have to put in some support towers or something, because I don't have any kind of right? There's nothing in the middle of this thing, and so it needs something to support. So I might put a couple of big towers on either end and kind of do a suspension bridge maybe, or something like that. I don't know. I'll have to think about it and then decide and see how that goes. So, all right. With that, click like if you like, subscribe, be sure and catch the next one. I will talk to you later.